Greetings, yogis, and welcome. I'm Rebecca, and thank you for joining me for this yoga practice for gratitude. At this time of year, we're often encouraged to find things that we can be thankful for. But really, if we pay attention, there's a multitude of things, miracles large and small, for us to have gratitude for all the time. One of the things I'm most grateful for right now is this technology that allows me to reach out to others through yoga. But with that technology comes some pitfalls. So you'll find in today's video that there are some times when the video will disappear, but the sound will continue. Please go ahead and be led by the sound of my voice. The video will come back. You'll want a yoga bolster or some pillows and maybe a couple of blocks for today's practice. So go gather what you need, and I'll see you on the mat. So you can come down to a supported Virasana today if you like. So think hip bones lining up with the knees. And if you can, bringing the heels out a little bit wider than the hips. You don't have to use support for your Virasana. You can certainly sit on your heels or on the floor, or even just come to your usual seated position. And then let's just let our eyes flutter closed. We'll begin to slow down the breath, bringing the attention to the breath. Perhaps taking a moment to just feel where the breath travels into the body. Feeling that coolness in the nose as we inhale and the warmth as we exhale. And feeling some gratitude for this most basic thing that our body does. If you've ever had an experience of being out of breath or short of breath, you know just how important the breath is. Without the breath, there is no life. So taking a moment just to extend some gratitude for this one minor miracle can be so powerful. And allow your shoulders to relax away from your ears. Allow your shoulders to come right over your pelvis so your spine is stacked up nice and straight. And then once we've all settled in here, just allow your eyelids to flutter open gently. And we'll take our fingers and interlace them here, pressing the palms away. And then as we inhale, inhaling the palms up towards the ceiling. And then exhaling, allow the fingertips to rain down. And doing this again, interlacing the fingers, inhaling the palms up. Exhaling, allowing the fingers to rain down. And as always, do whatever you need here to be most comfortable. So if you need to change the way you're seated, or even if this motion just isn't working well for you today, find something else in your body that does. So last time, pressing away, inhaling the arms up, and exhale, allowing the arms to release. And we'll shift the blocks out from under us if you're using those today. And we're going to allow the feet to rotate around to one side. So you might pull one heel close to your hip and then place the other sole of the foot on the top of the leg. So I have one leg curled around behind, one leg around in front. And then reach underneath your hip that's in contact with the floor and just pull the flesh out from under that so that you can really feel your sits bone connecting with the floor. And we'll take the fingertips out to the mat next to us here, and then inhale up through the right arm. And then exhale, reaching up and over, really grounding down through that hip. And then allowing that arm to release. Inhaling to bring the arm up again. And this time, as we're exhaling, we'll bring the right hand down to the left knee and allow the left arm to swim around behind, twisting towards the leg that's around behind us. And if your left hip isn't connecting with the floor here, that's okay. But just energetically move that left hip down. Inhale to grow tall, maybe releasing slightly, and then exhale back into your twist. And then inhaling the arms back up overhead. We'll exhale, bringing the hands to heart center. You can take your left hand and help your left leg come around. We're going to bring the left leg around in front and the right heel next to the hip. And once again, you can reach under that left hip this time, pull the flesh out of the way. And we'll bring the fingertips down to the mat, this time inhaling up through the left arm and exhaling as we reach up and over, grounding down through that left hip, opening the chest, reaching up for that seam of the ceiling and the wall. And then exhale, allowing that left arm to come down. We'll inhale the left arm back up again. This time, as we're exhaling, dropping it to the right knee and swimming the right hand around behind, coming into our twist. Energetically moving that right hip down towards the floor. Inhaling, growing tall, imagining space in between each of our vertebrae. And exhaling back into the twist. And then inhale, arms up overhead. And exhale, letting the hands rain down. We'll use the the right hand to bring the right knee back in front. And then come into our Sukhasana. And we'll actually take this with the legs unstacked. So see if you can bring your shins parallel to one another in front of you so that the bones are not stacking on top of each other. And then from here, inhaling the shoulders onto the back, we'll exhale and walk the fingertips forward any amount here. So not trying to go down or into any particular expression of this pose, but just paying attention to what this feels like. Seeking a stretch in the outside of the thigh for the leg that is in front. And also feeling this crown of the head to tailbone connection as we try to bring our spine into alignment here, keeping the back nice and flat and aligned. And then when you're ready, walk the fingertips back towards the body. We'll switch the direction of the feet here. And then once again, inhaling the shoulders up and letting them melt down the back. And then sinking the heart forward, walking the fingertips out any amount. Stretching through the outside of that front hip. And then when you're ready, inhaling back up to your seated position. And we'll bring both our legs over to the side as we come into our tabletop today. So finding your nice, stable base here. And just taking a moment to be grateful here for what supports you. The floor supports us as we have our practice. We have a place to practice and a way to practice this morning. So taking some time to just think about that as we tune into our foundation here. And then once you've felt your way into your tabletop, lifting the front body to meet the back body, pressing out and away from the mat, really feeling your strength here. Pressing the tops of the feet into the mat if you've got your tops of your feet on the mat. And then beginning your cat-cow, sinking the belly down, rolling the tailbone under, allowing the movement to begin with the breath, followed by the tailbone, and followed by the rest of the body. Really just explore this motion today. Really make this yours. Feeling into every little small movement and tiny muscle. Moving just as slow as your breath can guide you. Coming through our cat-cow a couple of more times. And then coming back to stillness in tabletop, finding your neutral spine. And then once again, feeling into that bringing of the front body into the back body, connecting the navel to the spine. Not in reality, of course. And then from here, taking a nice deep breath. And as we're exhaling, we're going to press out through the left toes, letting the left toes come down to the mat, pressing out through the heel here and feeling that stretch deep into the left calf. Pressing evenly into both hands, allowing the eyes of the elbows to shine forward. And then keeping this connection to our foundation. On our next inhale, we'll begin to allow that left heel to rise up. Moving the left hip down towards the mat, turning the left toes down towards the mat, keeping the gaze just about a foot in front of the fingertips, straight down at the floor. And then if you like, you can lift the opposite arm, reaching out through the fingertips, getting that feeling of the heel and the fingertips moving away from the body in opposite directions. Deep breath here. Feel that little shake and tremble. Extend some gratitude for being alive. And exhale, releasing the hand and the leg back to the mat. And we'll take a moment here to allow the knees to come wide, shifting the hips back towards the heels. Elbows come to the floor. We'll allow the hands to come up behind the head, perhaps in a namaskara. And if you like, you can rotate the wrists here. Or just allow the hands to rest. And then allowing the palms to come back to the floor. We'll use our inhale to help us rise up, coming back into our tabletop. Finding those nice wide fingers, inhaling here. And then as we're exhaling, pressing out through the right toes, the right heel, feeling that stretch into the right calf. Pressing into the top of the left foot, or if you have your toes curled under, just engaging into that left foot. And then on our next inhale, beginning to allow that right heel to float up. Right pinky toes coming down to the floor. And then allowing the left arm to rise up. Really reaching out actively through the fingertips, actively through the heel. Belly button still coming into the spine. Deep breaths here. Welcome the strength. Welcome the shake and tremble. One more breath. And then on an exhale, bringing the knee and the hand back to the floor. Once again, widening those knees, shifting the hips back, and coming into any expression of child's pose that you like. Couple of breaths. Good. Palms of the hands come back down to the floor, using that breath to rise up like a wave. And we're going to bring the knees close together here. And if you have some blocks or books handy, you can grab those. If you don't have those available in your space, that's okay. We're going to come up on the knees. And if you'd like to bring a blanket under your knees or even double your mat underneath your knees, you can do that. And we're going to bring our toes curled under so that the backs of our heels make a little shelf here. And you can bring a block or even multiple blocks if you need to the back of your heels, or you can go without blocks. Either way is fine. So from here, engaging the glutes just a little, engaging the belly, supporting the spine. We'll inhale the arms up overhead. And then exhale, bringing the hands around. We'll start by bringing the heels of the hands just to the base of the spine here. Take another big inhale, and then as you're exhaling, just press the hands down the glutes, keeping the chin parallel to the floor. And just coming into this little back bend. And inhale to release. Full breath. We'll do that once again. Inhaling the arms up overhead. Exhale, releasing the hands around behind. Pressing into the tops, the glutes, and sliding the hands down. Chin parallel to the floor, elbows moving towards each other. And then allow that to release. And if that is the movement that works for you, you're welcome to keep that. If you'd like to change it a little, we're going to inhale the arms up overhead. And this time we're going to reach up tall through the left fingertips as we swing the right fingertips around behind, allowing them to come in contact with the block or with your heels, and really reaching up through those left fingertips, coming into a half Ustrasana, Ardha Ustrasana, or half camel pose. Inhale to reach up through those left fingertips, and exhale, allowing the fingertips to swim down and allowing yourself to rise up, coming back onto your knees. We'll do this on the other side now. Inhaling the right arm up tall, allowing those left fingertips to swim around behind, finding your heel or the block, reaching up tall. Couple of breaths. And coming back up tall. Exhaling, allowing that arm to swim down. Taking just a moment here to find some natural movement that feels good in your body. And then one last time here. This time we'll inhale both arms up overhead. Exhaling as we swim both fingertips around behind, finding the block, finding your heels, or perhaps coming back into that shape with the hands on the glutes. Being careful with the cervical spine here. So keeping the chin parallel to the floor and only allowing the gaze to rise to the ceiling if that works in your body. Does it crunch up those little bones? And then inhaling to release. We'll turn the toes back under, moving very slowly and carefully here. Coming back down, maybe moving your, what do you call that, mat out of the way. And then stretching the arms out long. Your knees can be close together or wide. You might like to have a block underneath your head. Just countering that back bend with the child's pose. Good. Now rising up. We'll come back to our tabletop here today. And then we're going to take the right leg. We're going to kick that leg out like a kickstand. So kicking it out to the side. And then really planting that right hand into the mat. We'll extend out long through the left foot. And then extend that left arm up overhead. So we're coming into a gate pose here. Pulling the belly button into the spine and keeping the gaze straight forward. And on our next inhale, we can sweep that top arm up and over the ear, extending out through the fingertips, pressing into the outside of the left foot. And then really engaging that right top of the foot into the floor. We'll inhale as we sweep the arm down, coming up onto the knee. Hands extended out to the sides, really engaging the abs. Good. And then dropping that left hand to the left leg, And sweeping the right arm up and overhead, feeling that nice side body stretch down the right side of the body. Inhaling back to bring the arms outstretched to the sides. And then we'll exhale, using the abs to slowly tilt to the side, gently and carefully coming back down to rest on the right hand. Allowing the left hand to swim back around, bringing in that kickstand, coming back into our tabletop, and maybe coming through just a couple of cat-cows. Good. And now taking the left foot, turning it into a kickstand, we'll ground down through the left hand, extending the right leg out long, and then inhaling to bring this right arm up towards the ceiling. Pressing into the outer edge of that right foot. And then on our next inhale, if you like, you can swim that upper arm up and over the ear, really extending long through the fingertips, long through the side of the foot, pressing into your foundation. And then as we're inhaling, beginning to engage everything to bring the body up. Arms come to parallel. And then when you're ready, dropping that right hand to the right leg, inhaling the left arm up overhead, extending long through the fingertips, long through the side body. And exhale to release all the way back down, slowly and with control. And then on your next exhale, allow that upper arm to swim back down to the mat, coming back into your tabletop. And from our tabletop, now we'll walk the hands, a couple of handprints out in front, turning the toes under in the back, and allowing the hips to come up, coming into downward dog. So let's do a little exploration in our down dog today. Pressing out through the fingertips, actually really kind of clawing with the fingertips here to bring that little cup underneath the palm, extending out of the shoulders. And let's bend deeply into the knees, bringing the belly toward the thighs. And then begin that slow pedal, deepening first into one heel and then into the other. Being grateful for just the ability of our bodies to make this simple shape and this simple movement. So many of these things that we take for granted. And so it's good to extend some gratitude just for these simple things in our lives at times. Gratitude for this practice, gratitude for people to practice with, gratitude for a reason to get up out of bed in the morning. And now we'll inhale up to the toes and exhale, allowing the heels to release, Shifting the gaze forward and walking slowly to the top of the mat. Coming into our forward fold here. And remember, you can keep your knees just as bent as you need for them to be to allow your fingertips to come down to the floor, or you can bring the floor to you with a block. And we'll take just a moment here to walk the fingertips from side to side. And then come back to meet in the middle. We're going to bend deeply into the knees here. If you'd like to use a block, you may. Otherwise, you can just use your fingertips on the floor. And we're going to plant the left hand in front of the face on that block. And inhale up with the right arm as we extend through the right leg. Gaze is straight forward, or can come up towards the ceiling if that's comfortable for your neck. And exhale, allowing that hand to come down. We'll plant the right hand in front of the face here, once again, bending deeply into the knees. And then inhaling the left arm open as we extend through the left knee. This movement is a good place to practice our awareness of where our bodies are in space. So many times you may allow your arm to reach back past the plane of your shoulder, or maybe even come forward slightly. So see if you can bring your fingertips and arm directly over your shoulder. And then exhale, allowing that to release. Coming back into our forward fold. We'll allow the fingertips to find the floor again, allowing the crown of the head to release down. And then bending deeply into the knees, we'll inhale the arms up overhead. Hands come to meet overhead, and then come down through heart center. And bringing the heels of the thumbs into the sternum here. Take a moment of awareness, feeling your heartbeat. Maybe bringing a little smile to your lips. And allowing yourself to feel the reverence of this shape. The shape of bringing our hands together, which we use to show respect, which we use to show gratitude, and which many people use in prayer. And feeling the reverence here and allowing yourself to think of something that you're thankful for. And then releasing that out to the universe. We'll allow the fingertips to come down, sweeping the arms up overhead. And this time, as we're exhaling, we'll twist to the side, bringing the arms down halfway. And once again, practicing that awareness of where we are in space. Seeing if we can bring the arms down to the same level. Inhaling the arms up overhead. And exhaling, we'll twist in the other direction. One of the great differences of a home practice versus a studio practice is in our homes, we often do not have walls full of mirrors. So we have to practice what things feel like in our bodies. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhaling once again back to the first direction. Bending slightly into the knees here. Pulling the belly button into the spine. Pulling up through that mula bandha, pelvic floor. Inhaling, arms up overhead. Exhale, releasing other direction. Inhaling, arms up overhead. We'll exhale to allow the arms to come down halfway. Taking a nice big inhale here as we roll the shoulders onto the back. And then exhaling, bringing one arm over the other. Doesn't matter which one. Reaching back for the shoulder blades here. And if you like, you can inhale those elbows up, dropping the chin to the chest. Just taking a moment here. Gratitude for self. Inhaling the arms open wide. And then we'll exhale, bringing the other arm on top this time. Allowing the elbows to rise, chin drops to the chest. And now perhaps sending out gratitude to someone. Maybe someone that you care for deeply, or perhaps someone that really challenges you and enables you to deepen your own internal practice of yoga. And then inhaling the arms open wide. We'll exhale, allowing the fingertips to swim around behind now. We'll press down and away, opening through the chest, bending the knees slightly here. And then if you like, bending the knees quite a lot, coming into a forward fold with the belly resting on the thighs. And then allowing the fingertips to release. We'll bring them down to the floor, deepening into the knees, coming into a bit of a toe stand here. We can use this for our balance practice today. So bringing the big toes close to each other. And knowing that if you need to keep them wide, that's a little bit more stable. So if you'd really like more challenge to your balance, you can bring the toes close together, the arches of the feet close together, or if you'd like to keep them wide, you can do that. And then pulling in through the belly button, we'll begin to rise slowly, bringing the hands back to the chest, taking a moment here to balance, perhaps sealing the thighs together, finding a focal point, bringing a little smile to your face. And then we'll exhale, allowing the fingertips to come back to the floor. And then slowly and carefully helping ourselves down to a seated position. We'll extend the legs out long, coming into Dandasana or staff pose. Stacking the shoulders right over the hips here. And if your arms are long enough, you can press your palms of your hands into the mat. If not, you can press your fists. Remembering that many people find it helpful to sit up on a blanket in this very active pose. So allowing yourself to bring the toes back towards the face. Calves are pressing into the floor. Sits bones are well connected here. We're going to come into a Dandasana forward fold. We're going to do it today without a strap, really using our bodies for guidance. So without a strap, we'll inhale the arms up overhead, reaching up through the fingertips. And then as we're exhaling, sink the chest forward any amount. So you're keeping the shoulders moving towards each other on the back and keeping the toes pulling back towards the face. So you may only come forward an inch or so. It doesn't matter where you are, how far forward, keeping the spine nice and straight, feeling that sensation down the back of the legs. And then we'll allow this to release. Taking a nice deep breath here. Exhale. And then inhaling to sweep the arms up overhead one more time. And imagine now this time that not only is the chest sinking forward, but that you're rising up out of the pelvis and over something that's in your lap. So seek out that up and over motion. Keeping the shoulders moving towards each other. I got a good shake going on in the legs this morning. Spine nice and straight. And then allow that to release. Inhaling back up to seated. We'll bring the knees up and switch down onto our backs. Rolling out a little through the lower back here. Just releasing. Bringing one ankle over the other. If you can reach through and grab the toes or the outsides of the feet. Just pulling back through the feet. And allowing that to release. Crossing in the other direction. Reaching up. Pulling back through the feet. And allowing that to release. We'll bring the soles of the feet down to the floor and roll to one side. And here, if you have your pillows or a yoga bolster handy, we're going to bring the legs bent to one side and the shin of the right leg is going to rest in the arch of the left foot. And both your hips will not contact the floor in this shape, just the left hip, the one that's on the bottom. And we're going to bring the bolster or the pillows very close to the hip here. And then taking a nice deep breath to grow tall, we'll turn the body toward the pillows or bolster and begin to walk the body down onto the bolster, taking the head in any direction that feels comfortable. So we're twisting so that the front of the body is resting on the bolster here. And then just allow yourself to come down and relax into this restorative twist. Allowing yourself to be heavy. No need to resist. Allowing yourself to be grateful for this easy moment. And you're welcome to stay right where you are, or if you'd like to turn your head in the opposite direction.
your head now the other way. Feeling how that changes the experience of being in this shape. And beginning to deepen the breath, using the inhale to slowly begin coming up, moving with care. And switching to the other side. So coming onto the right hip this time. Left shin resting in the arch of the right foot. And then turning the torso towards your support. And on an exhale, walking the fingers out, bringing the center of the chest down to rest on your support, turning your head to one side. If you don't have what you need for this shape in your home today, remembering you can always just come to another variation of twist. Perhaps check back in with your breath here. And then if you like, turning the head in the opposite direction. And then on your next inhale, slowly and carefully beginning to rise up. Coming back up to seated. Grabbing your block or books that you may have handy. Or if you don't have those available in your space, that's fine. We'll come down to rest on the back. Doing the last few things before we end our practice today. So bringing the heels as close to the tail as you can. And bringing the palms of the hands down to the floor next to the hips. We'll press into the palms here as we inhale, lifting the hips up from the floor. And if you do have a block or some books in your space, bringing those underneath your sacrum. So underneath your tailbone, right where it meets the bottom of your spine, but not underneath the small of the back. You want to keep the block out of that arch in the back. And then taking just a moment here just to experience the supported bridge pose. Or if you're practicing without a block today, you might do a flowing bridge, inhaling the hips up, exhaling to bring the hips down. And then with the hips supported on the block or down on the floor, we'll carefully bring one knee and then the other into the chest. And then once you've found a comfortable position here, we'll extend the legs up towards the ceiling, flexing the feet like we're standing on the ceiling. And you might bring the arms to goddess pose here, like a football goal, or extend them out long to the sides. Just doing whatever feels comfortable with the arms here. And we'll stay here for about 1 minute. If this isn't a pose that feels comfortable for you, you can come into a constructive rest pose with the feet out wide on the mat and the knees resting in on each other. Just taking a moment here to explore this gentle inversion. Inversions have many purposes in yoga, but one of them is just a change in perspective. Being able to focus differently on something. And now beginning to allow this to release. First, bringing the knees back in towards the chest. Then slowly lowering down one knee and then the other. Bringing the soles of the feet to the floor. Coming back through our bridge or supported bridge. And if necessary, inhaling the hips up to release the block from underneath your sacrum. And then allowing yourself to extend your legs out long. Maybe rolling those palms upward, snuggling the shoulders underneath the back. And allowing yourself to just rest. Deepening the breath. Imagining that your body can just melt into your mat. Melting like ice. Turning from a solid into a liquid. Maybe a liquid into a gas. And if you like here, you can bring your hands to your lower belly, allowing your fingertips to touch as they surround your belly button. And just feeling the breath gently rising and falling. Connecting as we did at the beginning of class with the miracle that is the breath. I've heard it said that human existence There's 1,000 joys, 1,000 sorrows. And also that as we change what we see changes. So take some time to think of things that you're grateful for. Perhaps the tiniest things that you usually take for granted. And if you can't think of words, just allow images to come into your mind. A beautiful sunrise, the surf on the beach, a snow-capped mountain, bird flying through the sky. The face of a loved one. And then when you're ready, lengthen and deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Roll to one side and gently make your way back up to seated. We'll close with a well-known Sanskrit proverb, which says, "Look well to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In it lies all the realities and verities of existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day, for it alone is life." I am deeply grateful, as always, to have people to practice with and a reason to practice. So thank you very much for joining me for this practice today. And I hope that you found some gratitude and that your yoga follows you off the mat.